This is Undersheriff Korey Brown filling in for Sheriff Todd Baxter, and this is podcast episode 126. I can't believe there's been 126.
I know. It's unbelievable, man. From the inception of it to how it starts out, you know what I mean, and to where it is now. It's amazing, the growth.
So today we are going to talk about the Teen Police Academy and the things that we're doing there. So we have the privilege of having Deputy Payne here and Deputy Napier here. And they're going to just give a quick introductions about themselves, and then we're going to go into the Teen Police Academy.
Well, thank you for having me, Undersheriff. My name is Jonathan Payne. I'm the C-Zone Community Engagement Deputy. I actually will hit my 16-year mark next month, and most of that's been primarily on the west side of the county. So just happy to be here. Thanks for having me again.
16 years, time goes by fast, doesn't it?
Yes,
Seems
it
like
does.
1 minute you're in the academy. I tell people, I turn around, and all of a sudden, I'm the old guy in the room. You blink, and there you are. Deputy Napier.
So I'm Jake Napier. I work also the west side of the county. I'm on C-Zone 1st Platoon, the overnight hours out on the west side. I've been with the Sheriff's Office for about 6.5 years. About 2.5 to 3 years of that time was spent in the jail, and then the rest has been out on the road. Yeah, that's a little bit about me.
That's awesome. You seem to have done a lot already in 6.5 years.
Yep, yeah. So I started in the jail. I was privileged enough to make it through the SRT school with them. Did about 6 months or so with them until I transferred out to the road, and now being out on the road, I've been able to go through snowmobile school and got to do all sorts of fun stuff doing that, and then I made taser instructor as well, so I also do that.
Wow. So what is SRT?
SRT is the special response team in the jail. They deal with anything that's more high risk involved in the jail. Anything from riot control training to tactics to quick extraction team type stuff, getting people out of cells that are, a danger to themselves or maybe some other people inside the block.
That's
that
awesome.
Stuff. Yep.
Yeah, and you talked offline a little bit too about, just that upcoming from the jail. People don't realize it, and that's why we do a podcast like this so people out there can see that there are different facets of the sheriff's department and the things that happen within the sheriff's department. But not just that, you guys are both involved in what we call the Teen Police Academy.
Right.
Yeah. Just could you give us a little synopsis of what that's about, and we have some follow-up questions for you.
Yeah, sure. So I was actually a DARE officer at the time in 2013, and one of the school districts that I was teaching with didn't want DARE lessons until after state testing. So I had some time on my hands. So my then Sergeant Jeff Klein was like, hey, Sheriff O'Flynn is looking to kind of connect with the community youth. Is there a program or something that you can come up with while you got this downtime? And thought about, hey, what if we did like a Teen Police Academy? Had kids from all over the county come in for a week and put them through the rigors of what an academy would look like to kind of give them that experience. And so actually it was funny, a classmate of mine that I went to the academy with, Sal Latore, he was also up there, and I said, hey, do you want to try to start this up together? So we ended up doing that, and here we are 11 years later, still talking about it, and people like Deputy Napier are products of that Teen Academy now fully in the Sheriff's Office. So they show up Monday morning. We get them to square their turns in the hallway, teach them about saluting, being called to attention, things like that. And then throughout the week, we put them through PT, DT, teach them about firearms. No firing of the guns yet. And then have investigators come in and talk about what they do, have our different special teams come in. So just trying to show them all the different facets of what a police academy would be like, and for them to see if, hey, this is something that they want to do, because we want to use it ultimately as a recruitment tool to show them, hey, this is what the Sheriff's Office is all about.
It's just such a great outreach tool that we have. And I will tell you, the first time I went to the Teen Academy, I went on Monday, and I was told that you're not going to believe the change that they have in a week. And I thought, yeah, whatever. You hear that all the time. At the end of the week on Friday afternoon when you go to the graduation, you cannot believe the change that you see from Monday till Friday. I mean, you get these kids involved. You get them excited to be there. You get them working together as a team.
Yeah, no, and there's a big recruitment process. I remember when Sal and I did. I know that things have progressed from over 10 years ago, but we would go in and we'd have the school have to kind of filter them out. And we only wanted the best of the best, and then we made decisions based off of those kids. And the one interesting thing about that first class There was a young man up in the Hilton schools that when we went to interview him was adamant about being a corrections officer.
I think I know who this is.
And we were like, come on, dude, like, you know, you want to be a police officer, you want to be out on the road, and was adamant about becoming a corrections officer. And so we always stuck in our mind, and here he is all these years later.
So how did you hear about the Teen Police Academy? Why did you want to do it? And what was your goal at the time?
So I was fortunate in Hilton High School. I had some phenomenal teachers, but they kind of give you a breakdown of like where do you want to go? And there's, you know, tech classes, woodworking, all that different types of stuff that you can kind of take as electives going forward. But knew from a young age that I wanted to do something in law enforcement. I just didn't know what exactly. And in Hilton High School, some of those elective courses you can take are to do with forensics and community type policing type stuff, and just stuff to get you ready if you're going to go off to college for a criminal justice degree or something like that. So while I was there, one of the teachers there is Miss Pignato. She's recently retired, but she was giving us information about this new and upcoming Teen Police Academy that you had to apply for through the high school. So I applied for it. Me and I want to say there was several at the time applying for it, and I think there's still several to this day. It's pretty competitive to get there. So you apply, and they give everybody a fair chance in an interview, and they select a few from a school, and it's the people that are serious about it. And I think that's the cool part about it is you get the whole interview experience, you get the whole inner workings of what it's like to actually sign up for a career in law enforcement and kind of go through that process. So I did interview with Deputy Payne here and Deputy Latour, and ultimately ended up in Teen Police Academy Class 1.
So why at that time did you say you wanted to do corrections?
So I think at that time I did a couple walkthroughs with some people that were family friends that played sports with their kids growing up, whatever the case may be, and they took me through. I was like, man, this is really cool. I like the interaction that, you know, these deputies in the jail are having with each other. It just seems like a cool place to work. That type of thing was neat to me. Just being away and doing something that nobody else could really talk about was pretty cool at the time.
Yeah, the closeness in the jail is just incredible, and you can never say enough about the great work that's done inside the jail by the deputies that are working there. I mean, they have a hard job, and they just do it. They're just tremendous at it. I mean, the compassion they show people, and the no nonsense that they show people, and every day working together with some of the worst in society, and also some that just made a mistake and are down on the luck or have an addiction.
Sure.
You know, they work both sides of that, and they just do a phenomenal job. It's just impressive.
Yeah. I mean, you see all sides of every different angle of people, right? People that come in and, you know, they're hostile and angry when they're there, and then you build a rapport with them, and all of a sudden you're able to talk them off ledges sometimes. So it is kind of cool being able to, kind of understand their upbringing. Might not be the same as yours, and, we all come from different places. So it's kind of cool to interact with them and get to know, how did we end up here, and how were we able to make just a little bit of a difference before they get out.
And myself and Deputy Latour, we never worked in the jail. And we had been on about 5 years at a time, so we had heard stories, and obviously we worked with deputies that had transferred from the jail to the road. So when I've got this young high school kid that's like, oh, I want to be a corrections officer, I'm like, you're nuts, dude. Like, that is a tough job. And you want to go in there and do that, right off the bat. Plus, when we met with other kids, no one really said I want to be a police officer. Everyone was too cool for school. So it's, hey, I want to be an FBI agent, or I want to be in the Secret Service. And you'd ask why. And they'd be like, I want to help people. And we're like, well, we help people too. But ultimately, it's, again, going back to that reality of people see police and corrections on TV and movies, and it's all glamorized for Hollywood.
Right.
And so they see those navy blue coats with the yellow FBI on the back, and oh, that's so cool. And, it is, obviously working for the feds is nice. But again, it's, we also help people, and, there's a different process that, reality sets in and what really goes on in real life. So I think that was part of it too, was it was cool that Jake was like, nope, I want to be a corrections officer. And so we were like, cool. We're like, let's come in and we'll show you it. Because again, if you're going to go work in the jail, you're going to go through a similar experience with the academy.
Yeah, I love that too. Like you said, with coming through the jail process right there, that's a phenomenal stepping stone, because you think about it. If you can talk to people in the jail, talk them down, and you got guys in there that have some severe problems,
Absolutely.
And you can talk those guys down, like you just said, that equates to going out there on the road like you have, and a situation arises, you're like, you know what, I got this. You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah,
It's
it
crazy.
definitely builds confidence. I mean, yeah, I mean, there's plenty of instances of stuff like that where people just don't like people in blue. They don't like the patch. They don't like the uniform. Whatever the case may be, but you have that one good interaction, and then it turns into another good interaction, and eventually it might change their perspective totally, and that's pretty cool. It makes our job safer, makes the people on the road safer. So one good interaction at a time is always a good thing.
Wow.
And I will say, I ran hiring and training in the city for 5 years. The best cops were jail deputies.
Yeah.
Because they
Yeah, I
learned
believe
that skill. They learned how to talk to people. The hardest thing to teach people in FTO is how to talk to people. If they've always been in a bubble their whole life and now they got to talk to people that are not in the best moment of their life, or they're intoxicated, or they're high, or whatever it is, teaching them how to talk to people is the hardest thing. And when you come from the jail, you already got it.
Right.
100% true statement.
So as far as the Teen Academy, what was your favorite part of the Teen Police Academy?
That's a great question. I loved meeting all the special teams. That was really cool. Seeing what the sheriff's office has to offer, there's a lot. So seeing a lot of the special teams is cool, but building relationships with other people in the class that are your age, that are in the community, going through the same thing, all kind of have the same mindset and career field. As we look out of high school and start looking into college or military or career field, whatever it is, it's pretty cool to keep those relationships to this day and work with them. So up to today.
Right, you were mentioning that you have a couple other people that
Yeah.
were in the same academy?
Yep. So in Class 1, we have myself, Deputy Finn, Deputy Ribby, and Deputy Demore, all working for the Sheriff's Office from Class 1.
Yeah, it's just incredible. I'm
Yeah.
sure you didn't know, Deputy Payne, when you were interviewing them, that they were eventually going to be your peers.
No, actually, it was it was like, whoa, you're in charge of them, and then hey, we're colleagues now. So and Deputy Demore, he's the one in the jail, and then Deputy Finn and Deputy Demore, he was from Webster Schools. Deputy Finn was from East Rochester, and Deputy Ribby is from Spencerport. So it's cool to see that we have this diverse group of kids from all over the county, from all different walks of life that are here together. We actually have another Class 1 graduate. She's an EMT. So that was the other cool thing, was that it wasn't just Deputy Napier wanting to not be the police officer in the academy, but we had some people that hey, they were interested in fire, they were interested in EMT. So we were like, hey, we'll take on first responders because again, this will be a similar environment for you. So that was an interesting aspect to show them the law enforcement side of things, but knowing that, hey, if you're going to go to the fire academy or if you're going to go to EMT school, it's going to be very similar in the way this is set up. One of my favorite memories from that first class was we had a girl from Penfield, and it got to Thursday, and we were just waiting. It was afternoon, waiting for an investigator or someone to show up to do their class, so we had a little downtime. And, we're talking about graduation on Friday, the sheriff was going to be there and everything. And she raised her hand. She said, you know what? She goes, I'm really sorry. She's like, but I can't do this. And I was like, what do you mean? And she said, you know what? I just realized that I can't be a police officer because I could never take someone else's life. And so it was really cool. Everybody kind of got back in the class before the investigator got up there. We talked about this. And I'm like, this is awesome. I said, because a big part of law enforcement is, are you able to defend yourself, able and willing to defend yourself or an innocent third party from a deadly physical threat? And if you can't do that, then this job isn't for you, and that's okay. Yeah. And it was really cool. So instead of this girl taking a spot in a real police academy and then realizing a couple weeks or a couple months in that, hey man, this isn't for me, the fact that through the Teen Academy she got to have this experience, which she goes, I still love the academy, and she goes, I want to graduate. I'm like, absolutely, you're going to graduate. This doesn't change anything, but now it gives you a clearer perspective on moving on in the future that, hey, you know what, this isn't for me. Because we teach that in FTO all the time to our recruits, like, hey man, you can rewrite that report, you can issue another ticket, you can do whatever, you can redo those things, but we can't fix dead. So at the same time, if you can't get over that mental hurdle of being able to defend yourself or a third party, that's okay. But then you've got to find another path. So
yeah, and I say it all the time. This job is certainly not for everybody, and it's nothing against you. It's just this. It takes a different kind of person to do the job. So how did you determine what was going to be in the Teen Police Academy? Because really, the Police Academy is 24 weeks. You have 1 week. Right? And so we have 24 weeks to get people in shape,
Yep.
And to go from 0 to being able to pass the exam at the end, and you, like I said, you have 1 week. Did you give any kind of PT test before they started?
No, so I mean, we would send out before the class started. We sent out, hey, these are the expectations, and just to let you know, in the real academy, this is the PT standards, that we're looking at, and so we're going to put you guys through it. So again, if you're not in sports or you're not, super athletic or whatever, like we're just letting you know this is coming on your plate. So, obviously we tone it down from what the real police academy is. But we're still there to motivate and help. We bring in our PT instructors, and they're there to know, they know the standards, they know what they can do and how far you can push kids. But at the same time, it's also pushing those kids. Right. And, your body is going to start to say no. But again, if you can get your mind there, then your body will follow. So, so that was a big thing for us. But again, yeah, it was just moving swiftly. And we told them, we're like, hey, we have 8 hours a day. We have 40 hours this week. So things are going to move fast. You have to keep up, because we want to get as much in front of you as possible.
Did you feel like things were moving faster in the week when you went through?
I would say that they were moving fast, but not to the point where you weren't getting it, right? So PT, it's fast, right? And it's supposed to be. It's supposed to kind of dial your brain into, all right, if this is really what you want, kind of get comfortable with being uncomfortable. With the day-to-day tasks, I don't think they were too fast to not get the information. I think they were good to kind of put everything on your plate in a week. So
and you go over a little bit of marching, you go over saluting, to kind of the paramilitary part of the academy,
yeah,
which a lot of people don't understand when they first come in. You can tell the military guys have it easy, and the ones that weren't in the military are now trying to adjust. So it gives them a taste of that to see what that is like.
And I remember Friday before graduation, because the sheriff and the command staff were going to be there, I want to make sure this looked tight. And so we definitely repped it a lot. I think even before lunch, I think we got a catered lunch from like Wegmans. But we're like, hey, before we feed you, we want you, to make sure that we look sharp, so that when they all show up, and your parents and your family and friends that show up for graduation, that you guys can, be proud of the work you've put in for the week, and really showcase that to not only the command staff but your family.
And you hit exactly what I was going to say. They're proud at the end of the week because they worked hard. It's not given to them that week.
No.
Right.
Right? You're pushed. You felt pushed, I'm sure, when you went.
Yeah, for sure. I think it tests everyone at some point, right? Like maybe somebody's not great at push-ups, but they ultimately get better at push-ups. Maybe they're not great at running, but ultimately they might start getting better at running. And it's things that they can start focusing on, and like, hey, if I really want this, maybe I got to run a little bit more. Maybe I got to push myself a little bit more in this mile run. And it ultimately will start to prepare you. So it's good.
I think it's also getting them out of that classroom mentality that things can be a little loosey-goosey with your teachers and stuff like that. But at the same time, like, we're there, and again, we're on a tight schedule. So when we have, this sergeant coming in or the special teams and they're talking about stuff, you guys can't be goofing around. You've got to be focused. And so, if there's any corrective measures we had to take, I don't think we took anybody out to the grinder, but definitely just a different environment for them to kind of experience and see and understand why we do what we do.
I was a class counselor for a couple of classes, and I will tell you that the recruits loved it when me and my co-class counselor would come down at the end of the day in PT gear. You could just see the excitement on their face for going out to the grinder. It was a great thing, but
especially on a Friday afternoon. I'll never forget one time, now retired Lieutenant Waldo showing up on Friday, and we're thinking we're going to cut loose, and all of a sudden he's like, he goes, meet us out in the back. And we're like, oh, God.
But we don't do that in the teen academy. So we want them to have a good experience and kind of give them a taste. And, the sheriff and I both think it's such a great opportunity to let people see the sheriff's office and see how they can plug in, because we have so many different jobs in the sheriff's office, and we're always looking to recruit that next generation. So this gives you an idea about all the different aspects that you can do in the sheriff's office and how can you plug in with us and get connected at an early age.
Yeah. And also, I was wondering, I'm a young guy. I'm watching this video, you know what I mean? And my thing is, who's eligible? How do I become eligible to join with the sheriff's department?
So my understanding, the way it is now, it still works very similar to when I started it, that they send out communication. We send out communication, from the sheriff's office to the schools. They can hook up with their counselors, and it's an annual thing that they know, hey, this is coming. And they've even gotten to the point now where the deputies that run it, I know they'll come out to C-Zone for a couple days, and they do all the West Side interviews at the zone. Oh. So I thought that was kind of cool that instead of, when I used to do it, we would go out to the schools, Now they have them come to the sheriff's office and, show up. And again, it's a professional interview. So how do you show up? Are you showing up in T-shirt and shorts, or, do you look the part like, hey, I'm going to take this serious? So a big thing is to connect with their school, or obviously there's online information on the sheriff's website.
Wow, that's nice. And like you said, some of the videos that pass by, you can also see where some of the kids were like going through different phases of the sheriff's department. Like I seen bomb squad up there, and I seen other things out there. And when they see that, they interest a young kid, a young mind, and they said, it's not just the cars. There's other things going on within the sheriff's department, and that's why I said something like this is fascinating. Something like this opens up the young mind, and when they see that, and they see that there's more to it, I believe that's where that recruitment gets higher and higher for you guys.
Yeah. No, I think the real world application is a big thing. So when you have the technicians come out and, there's the CSI shows and all those kind of things, but to see what a real life tech will do and, how they take pictures and how they recreate an accident and stuff like that, I think really helps put in perspective for these kids, hey, this is what real world law enforcement looks like.
Right, you can't process a 2,500 square foot house in 30 minutes. Right, the technicians get in and they get dirty, and it takes a long time, but they dig for information and find it.
Or even just something as simple as traffic stops and understanding why they're complicated and why they're very dangerous for law enforcement, and to kind of give them an idea about that. So I think that's just the different angles that we have to be able to present to them, to show them this is what it's about.
And scuba and all the different aspects of what we have, and the specialty teams that are out there on the road or in the jail with the SRT. And
I mean, like someone said before, everybody loves the dogs. So you bring the dogs out, everybody loves the canines, but they're an awesome tool for us. So
you guys know, well, Jake, you probably don't know, but I know Deputy Payne knows that we love to end with the no Miranda zone.
All right.
So we just want to put you on the spot a little bit. Why don't you go ahead and ask?
Yep. All right. Question number one. There's questions from all over the place, so feel free.
Got it.
All right. Favorite fast food restaurant?
I couldn't tell you the last time. Probably Subway. I don't really do fast food too much. I guess I go Subway. I don't know.
What's your favorite restaurant then?
Around here, probably Dinosaur Barbecue.
Dinosaur.
Yeah.
How about you? What's your favorite restaurant?
Oh, my favorite restaurant? My favorite restaurant is Rohrbox. It doesn't hurt that it's 5 minutes from my house, but I'm nervous because I've done this with you before. And
I don't understand why you would be nervous. What's your favorite TV show of all time?
My favorite TV show of all time? Oh, that's tough.
Gosh.
And it's tough to the point because you'll drop lines and stuff, and some of these young kids, and I'm looking at Jake. They don't
even get the reference.
Yeah, they don't know what you're talking about.
We made a MASH reference to Kara, my assistant's like, who? Never mind.
Probably one of my favorite TV shows of all time is Parks and Rec. I'm a big Ron Swanson kind of guy.
You know what's funny is I love The Office. I could never get into Parks and Rec.
And what's funny is that before I got to the sheriff's office, I worked a desk job. And I remember watching The Office with my wife and going, this isn't funny. And then
Come on.
I get in the sheriff's office and I'm like, this is hilarious.
Yeah.
So.
What about you? Favorite TV show?
Office. You
The
nailed
Office?
it. But yeah, Office. If I was going to put something on.
Show, actually. Let me ask you this. Last book you've read?
Can't tell you the name of it. It was about one of the most notorious serial killers. He was down in like the New Mexico area. Blanking on the name of the book, but he was responsible for at least 20 homicides throughout the United States. He was a notorious hitman down there, and it was about the brutal murders that he committed and ultimately how they were able to trace it all back to him. So it was pretty good.
Wow.
Yeah.
What about you?
So hopefully my family doesn't watch this podcast.
They don't know you read this book?
No, the complete opposite. I'm notorious for not being a big reader, whereas my wife has like impressed upon my children to read, and they all are very good readers. So, I'm not a big reader, but I mean, if anything, like I try to read my Bible as often as possible. But beyond that, my family will definitely give me.
So I'm just going to mention before we go, the last book I read was 8 States for Maz, the book that just came out from Brett Zabreski. Mm-hmm. Just an incredible book. It's a way to give honor to Officer Mazurkowitz and the sacrifice that he made, and just shows how Brett just made sure that his name wouldn't be forgotten and it wasn't in and out of the news like it was so quickly, and for those that have gone before. So it's a great book. It's out there now, 8 States for Maz. Highly recommend it. All right, well, guys, thanks for coming, and I hope we have a great teen academy this summer. I know we will, and like I said, it's always impressive to see from the beginning to the end, and hopefully we'll get some more 3 or 4 people that'll be sitting here next to us in a couple of years.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.